Alright, so this morning we're going to talk about the Kato N scale PA1s. I had a couple that were sent out for conversion. These ones have a little bit of a twist in that instead of normal ESU installs here, somebody was determined that they wanted Tsunami 2's TSU-KN1s installed. Now, this decoder claims that it'll fit in the E, F, F40, PA, and P42 diesels. They do have little speaker housings that I've seen will fit in the E and F units, I believe. That's these little guys. There's your little speaker in there. But if you look at the PA1, there is no space for that. I mean, I suppose you could maybe jury rig something up front if you lost the front LED, but that's not what we're for. So the board itself has the same footprint as the stock factory light board, and I'll go back and isolate these clips and solder an LED in here. But some of the things I'm noticing right off the bat, that tantalum cap in the back is way too high, and I briefly had shell fitting down that definitely doesn't fit down all the way. So either I get a scrape inside of the shell or I get to relocate this surface mount component, which is not that hard. And just hit it with some hot air, pull it off. But so you still have the issue of the speaker that needs to be addressed in here. Now luckily I've installed sound in PAs before. So what I think I'm going to do is use a frame that I've already machined. This was actually cut for ESU LokSound Micro Select at one point, but I have a couple of them already cut. And we'll use an 11 by 17 speaker in there instead of this little guy. So I figure if you're going to have to remove material anyways, you might as well put a larger speaker in there. Certainly get the purpose of why they would have included these, just because you can do it with minimal space, but I think that might be the better option. Oops. So I think that's what we're going to step back and install and see what happens here. Stay tuned. So I'm not sure this part's going to show up real well on camera. I'm sitting here installing, and the SoundTraxx decoders came with two LEDs for the headlights, and just out of morbid curiosity I hooked it up to my power supply over there, and it was they're like an older bright white LED. The one below it is a more modern one I got from ESU that came with some of their boards. It's more of a golden white. Like I said, I'm not sure how well this is going to translate through, but yeah, that white blinding white light doesn't look good to me, which I'd kind of expect more from a $160-some decoder, but that's just me, I suppose. All right, so with some hot air here, remove that tantalum cap because it's so thick. I'm just going to run jumper wires to the back since I got space in here now that this is all fitting in there. And by doing that, the shell should fit down securely. Next up, all right, so I just test fit the shell and it fits, but as we can see, we've used a machine frame on here, ESU 11 by 17 speaker. I relocated the tantalum cap on there, tantalum, however it's pronounced, and just run some jumper wires to it, making sure they're not touching anything and making sure the anode and cathode on here are in the right orientation, because if you don't, that'll go poof and everybody will be sad. I ran the speaker wires over here. They don't give you much of a pad to solder on there, but we can work around that. I've replaced their LED with one of the warm golden LEDs provided by ESU for another project. And so now we will go and we'll make a few setting changes and see what happens here. All right, everybody, continuing on with the Kato PA1 that has had a Tsunami 2 TSU-KN1 installed. I have both of these guys together, and I had to make a couple changes over my previous video. What I thought would work would be to take this surface mount capacitor that's really tall, take him off and just stick him back here and run jumper wires, but for whatever reason that isn't working. So I just heated that back up, plopped those back on. In order to get around the height issue, I ended up having to go and scrape a little bit of material out so everything seats correctly. Obviously this is a frame that's been cut down. Here's one of the stock ones, and then here's one that's been machined down, so it would take a speaker. Even if you wanted to use the SoundTraxx's enclosed speaker, you would still have to remove metal. So at that point, since you have the space and you got a cut anyways, yeah, might as well just go and do that. I did, for grins, hook this up, and obviously there is a sound difference between the two of them. Okay, now the capacitor is going to have to be there. Obviously that's wired there. That's 2 purple wires on these pads there. Replace the front LED versus the ones that came with it, because they were like awful bright white. Other than that, just kind of soldered everything together. Took and looked at Tsunami's quick start guide on here and made a few changes. I changed CV123 to number 7, which is an Alco 244 turbo. Changed CV120 to a Leslie A125, which is CV18 on CV120, or value of 18 on CV120. And then other than that, that's it. And they're both the same, so I'm just going to use this one that's already on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the headlights on, hit F8. And give him just a little bit of juice. Probably play with the speed table some, because this is starts off way too fast with these as opposed to what I'm used to. So there you go, Tsunami 2 KSU or TSU-KN1 installed in Kato PA1 N-scale locomotives. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, hope you learned something. Have a great day.